It's okay, it's alright. You won't be ready for long. All up, everybody wants that light. No one's ready.
What's up, everybody? I'm back to give you a quick review of a new shoe I picked up. Loving it. Think you guys are going to be interested in it. Just dropped today. Fresh off the release date. The Nike React Infinity Run FK. The FK stands for Flying It, of course. This is the Platinum Tint Pink Blast colorway. The other colorway that released today is the black and white colorway. So what I want to talk about just real quick are some similarities and differences from some other React shoes that you've seen, and talk about the overall technology that they're using and how this shoe feels and fits. In talking about that, we'll do a slight comparison to the original Epic React and how the changes that have come about make this an even better shoe than it was before. Let's get into it. So right off top, you'll notice that the profile of the shoe is kind of odd, kind of strange. It's got almost a negative taper where your heel is lower than the toe off position, but then it drops you off really sharply here. So it's got a kind of rocker effect from your arch to your toes. Makes it super comfortable when walking. It allows that toe off, that transition to go very, very smoothly. The shoe has a lot of rigidity in it, and I think mainly because of the addition of this full rubber outsole. And by full, I'm speaking loosely about that because it's got the cutouts, kind of bubble cutouts that you'll see in the Nike React Presto and the Nike React 87 and the 55. So that React, those cutouts, that kind of bubble pattern on the React is trademark for them, you know. It's the same thing you saw in the Epic React, except for much more pronounced now in comparison. So it doesn't flex as much. There's a lot more durability on that outsole, as you can see there. This one is one of the Reacts that I kept, didn't beat up on too much, but you can see the wear and tear that it takes when hitting the ground raw on that React. This is going to add durability, but also rigidity and not letting the sole flex as much. The upper is a very different kind of knit. This right here is the knit that you're used to seeing. So the collar and where that pull tab attaches around up here, that's the knit that you're used to seeing. This knit here is very, very open mesh, very light. You can actually see the color of the insole through the mesh. So it's very airy mesh, but strong. You know, it's a durable material, you can tell. But that gives some difference from what has been used in the past two models. The 1 and the 2 of the Epic were that kind of traditional fly knit all the way through. That material did tend to shrink on you if it hit heat, hot water, you know, sat out in the sun a little too long. And if you're working out in the summertime, that's going to happen. I don't think this is going to do the same thing. So I'm impressed with that mesh so far. Unique Nike swoosh there. They're only doing the outline. I've seen that on a few different models now. That's something pretty interesting. That support system is another piece, complete piece that forms the Nike swoosh that turns into the heel counter. That heel counter is then coupled with this little heel platform that finds itself going all the way around the shoe from arch to the lateral side. That is really, really comfortable, makes the shoe really super stable. When in the previous model, this is the Epic 1, and the Epic 2 wasn't much better. it was just this little plastic tab and then a somewhat rigid heel tab. Got a little more stiff, a little harder in the Epic 2, but I skipped the Epic 2 because it wasn't a big enough change for what you were paying. This is a completely different change, and it fits the way that it looks. It's an improvement. We like that. The shoe does run narrow, true to size, and narrow. That rocker effect that I was telling you about, you're gonna want to get your traditional size because anything less in this shoe and those positions are going to feel out of place. You can see under that forefoot, that's a massive chunk of React, very similar to the Vapor Street, Zoom Flies. That big chunk of React that forms that sort of rocker feeling. It hinges upon the ball of the foot right there. And if that's out of place, this shoe's gonna feel mad weird. You're gonna wanna get it to fit exact. Lacing systems haven't changed much. I really don't know if those help as much anyway, because once you start to pull the material, you're not pulling the shoe up, around, and over the tongue. You're actually just pulling the shoe itself, which would leave bunching in the middle like you can already see right there. So I'm not necessarily pro or con about that. I just know that once that shoe is on and you got the right fit, most times tying the shoe extra tight isn't giving you an extra benefit at all. So the shoes are snug anyway. Another thing you'll see is the difference in tongue. This was unilaterally the same type of fly knit mesh all the way through. It just had different hole patterns, different knit patterns. This right here is a third type of mesh. You've got this side panel here and the heel that was the traditional fly knit. You've got this kind of open mesh knit across the forefoot and midfoot, but right there at the tongue, you can see it's almost like ribbed, like a ribbed tank top. It's like a t-shirt. It expands to allow your foot inside, and you're not getting that pressure across the top of your foot like you normally would with the other models. And so that's an improvement. That has been really comfortable. I've had these on foot all day, non-stop, and it felt really good. Little fly knit tab on the reinforcement there. It's kind of dope. Nice little touch. Overall, this is an amazing pair of shoes. I'm really surprised. Really stoked to put some work in these. As you can see on my wall, I'm a Boost guy. And so a lot of people say this is Nike's answer to Boost, but to me it really feels altogether different. And where Boost is sort of all-encompassing comfort, React really does need the proper fit. If you don't get the right fit, if you're just buying them for style, you're not going to get the full benefit, because they have really particular placement in the design and the width and the shape of React midsoles. And so this shoe right here is an altogether unique feel, but you got to get the right fit. Now, of course, it's their version of a soft, squishy, cushy, bouncy shoe, which in effect was the answer to Boost. I'm not going to say that it wasn't a comparison. It's almost one-to-one in comparison to the effect that they wanted. But once React found its own stride, pun intended for a running shoe, it actually turned into its own thing. And so there are times where I do prefer the feeling of this, even though my brand loyalty is leans heavily toward the stripes. There are times when this is the shoe for me. It's much lighter than a Boost, which means it kind of reads quicker on your foot. It feels a lot more reactive, a lot more responsive. And the truth is, there's some times where it just looks sharper. So that is the Nike React Infinity Run FK. Beautiful shoe. Loving it. And I'm looking forward to putting some miles in and some working out, some plyos, some sprints, and seeing what we can do. I'll give you some on-foot looks. Appreciate you stopping by. Peace.